Are you trying to understand the concept of motivation better so that you can reach a personal goal? If so, you're in the right place. My name is Charles Ennis. I'm a health and wellness coach, and I've thought about the concept of motivation really deeply. Now, because motivation is complex, it's impossible to fully understand it with any one idea. Motivation being complex is better understood through a holistic perspective. But in this video, I just want to focus on one idea. And the idea is this: motivation is an emotion, and emotions change all the time based on context or situation. Now, if you're trying to reach a goal, you may be wondering, how can I keep my motivation at 100% so that I always follow through with what I intend to do? But the reality is that we never feel any emotion 100% of the time because our emotions change based on the situation. Now, let's make this point by thinking about another emotion, and that is the emotion of love. So I want you to think of someone that you love. It could be a child or a parent or a partner or a friend. Do you always feel 100% the emotion of love towards that person? If I think about our little ones, kids, nieces, nephews, when they snuggle up to you, jump on your lap, look in your eyes and say, "Mommy, Daddy, Auntie, Uncle, you're the bestest ever." In those moments, we tend to feel a high emotion of love towards them. But when they're running around and making a mess and yelling and screaming and arguing and not listening to us, in those moments, we might not feel the emotion of love as highly towards them. So again, our emotions change based on the situation. Now, sometimes we are fully aware of what situations precede a certain emotional response in us. But at other times, the situation that contributes to our emotional response happens underneath our awareness. And to give you an example, I'm sure you all have heard the word hangry before. I actually have a friend who has a t-shirt that says, "Forgive me for what I did when I was hangry." Now, when we think about this term hangry, hungry, angry, we could be focused on work, we could be focused on a project, and slowly the situation in our body is changing. Our energy is getting depleted. And then all of a sudden we react emotionally in a way that seems to come out of the blue. And so when we think about our emotions, this is one of the reasons why it can be hard for us to deal with and manage our emotions, is that sometimes we are conscious what contributes to them, and then at other times we are less conscious. And so I'll use this term mindfulness. And mindfulness is a term that we use a lot in coaching, because if we are trying to consciously pursue a goal or accomplish a plan, when we can be more mindful about what goes into accomplishing the plan, our chance of success goes up. Okay, so coming back to this idea that motivation is an emotion, and emotions change all the time based on situation. If we think about our situation holistically, we can think about it in regards to what's happening in our body, what's happening in our mind, and what's happening in our life. Okay, so we have a little bit of our internal situation, what's happening in our body and in our mind, and then we have part of our external situation, what's happening in our life or in our environment. Now, here's the good news. We have some control over our situation, and so we can affect our own motivation by better managing our body and our energy, our thoughts and our emotions, or our life and our environment. Now, before I go, I want to leave you with a little thought exercise and put on my coaching hat. And so I want to ask you this. If you think about a behavior that you'd like to start doing well again or return to, I want you to think back on a time when you were in a good groove. The reason I want you to reflect on when you were in a good groove is that success leaves clues. And so as you think about this time when you were just in a good groove, you were feeling good, you were motivated, you were in a good groove. Can you think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements of that situation or context that supported your motivation, that helped you to engage in that behavior? Because if you can identify what elements help you to thrive in the past, as you start to plan moving forward, you can try to include those elements in your plan. Also, as you reflect back on your past successes, I want you to think, what has changed from my past situation to my current situation? Because sometimes part of the context has changed, and then that will help to reveal why your motivation may have also changed. As an example, in the past, you may have had a less commute to work. And so you had time to get to the gym, to make your own food, to walk around the block. But now you have a longer commute. And that longer commute makes it harder to be motivated to get up that extra bit earlier or stay a little bit later. So again, if we can identify the context or situation in which we thrive or feel motivated, then we can try to duplicate that as we try to move forward. Okay, I've said a lot about motivation so far, but I want to just recap and put a bow on all of this. So again, motivation is an emotion, and emotions change all the time based on situation. If we think about our situation holistically, we can consider what's happening in our body, what's happening in our mind, and what's happening in our life. And if we can be mindful about what situations support our motivation and what situations don't support our motivation, we can use that information as we try to make a plan moving forward to accomplish one of our goals. Okay, I hope that I said something that was helpful. And until later, be well.